What is going on, guys? Yes, we are outside of Woodbine. It is freaking freezing right here. I'm just standing outside and man, my lips are about to get cold. I'm freezing to death right now. Don't have much to say. Hopefully it's going to be a good session, and let's just get right in there. All right, let's see what happens out of this. All right, so we are no longer in the freezing cold, and as you can tell, I'm way better right now. Man, like, you don't even know. My hands were absolutely frozen. Like, I'm talking about frozen. After I finished that little shoot, that little intro that you guys just saw, like that little 10-second whatever it was, I was literally freezing for maybe like 10 minutes after that. It just felt like, you know, 1,000 knives just going right through my hands. Like, literally, that's what it felt like. So I don't have the greatest circulation in my hands, so maybe that's why. But anyways, let's just hop right into it. We got a pretty fun session here at Woodbine. We actually didn't get any hands from that night, but you know, I always write down a whole bunch of hands that I feel might potentially be on the vlog. As I said before, with Woodbine hands, you know, I only play like maybe 2 hours per day or something like that whenever I do a session there, so I can't really get that many hands in. So what I try to do is just combine the butt. What I was able to do, I was able to actually have a full session of 2-5. So I had this in my database. This is from September. So let's go back to the past. Hand number 1. Before I jump into the hands or anything, I just want to say that I do have a pretty damn good memory, and it's kind of funny how you know, I talk about hands sometimes, or like some really crazy hands that people have played against me and they remember it a totally different way than the way that we played it out. But you know, I'm there, like, I wrote the hand. I know 100% what the hand is about because I wrote it down, right? And not only that, but it just, you know, when you're at the table, poker tracker online is up here. So this is my poker tracker, and hopefully it's your poker tracker too. But anyway, hand number 1. So we got the 8-9 of diamonds. We're on the button, 376 in front of us. Yes, a little shy of 500, but that's fine. E2 decides to limp, which is our primary target at the moment. M1 decides to ISO raise him to 20, and it gets back to us. And at that point, you know, we can potentially put in a 3-bet here, but we do want to play in position. We do want to kind of build a multi-way pot, and we got 8-9 of diamonds. Perfect candidate for the spot. I think that flatting here is fine, especially when people in the blinds are just gonna call along. So we decide to call, and the big blind completes, small blind folds, and we take a flop. 7 Jack 10, 2 clubs and a diamond, and we get the stones. So we can't ask for anything better, obviously. Big blind decides to lead. He goes 30, and he gets 2 calls. At this point, you know, I'm just thinking, like, can I call here? No, I don't think so. Way too many draws. That's a really wet board. So I decided to bump it up to 175. And the big blind calls. And it's heads up to the turn. King of diamonds on the turn. So now we also got a flush draw. And at this point, big blind decides to shove into us. Really weird here. We no longer have the nuts, but I mean, our hand is super strong, and even if we're beat, we got a backdoor flush draw. So yeah, we snap call, and he shows us ace jack offsuit. No club, nothing. 7 on the river. So we hold on to that one. That was the first hand. That's pretty good. Brings us up to about 850, and let's go on to hand number 2. Now we got the ace king offsuit, middle position 2. We got 850, and E1, which is a semi-loose aggressive reg, decides to go to 20, and M1 flats. At this point, I decide to go to 71. You know, pretty standard here. You definitely want to put in a 3-bet. So I decided 3-bet, and the cutoff cold calls, big blind cold calls, E1 calls, and M1 decides to fold. Strange. Deuce 3 4, and there are 2 clubs out there. We do have the ace of clubs, and checks around to us, and we decide to bet 165. The cutoff decides to call. So the cutoff cold called pre-flop. Pretty interesting. What kind of hands do you want to put him on? Obviously, I'm thinking like middling cards, right? Middling pairs, not middling cards, middling pairs. And we could probably get him off. So deuce on the turn, offsuit 2. And, you know, this doesn't really change the board all that much. What is perceived as strength on the flop, we have it on the turn. So we decide to bet 375, pretty much putting him all in. And he decides to fold. So we take pot number 2 down. So that one was pretty good too. You know, we're chipping up. And not too shabby. Now we got pocket kings. Obviously, we've been running pretty good this session, and you know, you can't really complain. I'm up about 1.3K right now, and we're middle position 2, and we open to 20 bucks. Middle position 3 calls, the big blind calls, and 3 ways to the flop. 3, 10, 2, and there are 2 hearts out there. We do have the king of hearts. So, you know, if a heart comes on the turn, I'll be pretty okay with that. Big blind checks, and I decided to bet 19. And we get 2 calls. So far, pretty standard. Maybe I could have sized up a little bit, but I don't mind sizing down on a board like that. You know, it's really dry, and we have a backdoor flush draw. So I think if a heart comes, we're pretty safe to, you know, at least call a bet, and we're in position. Well, we're in the middle, but still. 7 offsuit on the turn. And I decide to bet 61. M3 decides to call. Big blind folds. And heads up to the river. King on the river. So now we got the top set. And we have the stones. Yet again. So we're running really damn good right now, and you know, now we're thinking like, how do we extract the most? And in that moment in time, I thought that, you know, our opponent is really elastic on the river. His calling tendency really depends on how much we bet. So I decided to bet 82, and he really postured, and he was thinking, and he's thinking, and he's thinking, and you know, with the electronic poker, we get 45 seconds of thinking time. It's a time bank, automatic time bank. As soon as, you know, it's your turn to act, you got 45 seconds, you're on the clock right away. So you're essentially playing a shot clock at all times, every hand. Doesn't matter if you're on the river, if you're facing like $2,000 decision or $5,000 decision. I'm telling you guys, some of these pots at Omaha have gotten to like, I think 15,000. So yeah, I mean, having 45 seconds for a $7,000 or $8,000 decision is pretty insane, but it's happened. And I don't know, I think the whole shot clock thing kind of like helps everything out, speeds everything up, and everybody's happy at Woodbine, so everybody's good with it. Anyways, our opponent times out and he folds, so gonna get that extra little bet in, but you know, could you size even smaller than that? Maybe, but at that point, I think you're just sizing down way too much. Obviously, we've been having a good session, and we get pocket kings yet again. It's looking good. I mean, we got 1.4K in front of us, and we're in middle position 3. We decide to open to 18, which is standard open at Woodbine. You know, if you're playing a live casino setting, you really do want to stick to $5 denominations, just because it makes things a lot quicker. And I'm sure most of you guys already know, but if you don't know, like, I sometimes see people put in like a raise of $17 or whatever, or 21 or 22 or whatnot. So speeds up the game, and the dealer doesn't have to cut out a whole bunch of ones for everybody every time. So small blind flats, and now the big blind decides to squeeze it up to 57. And he's seen me put in some raises because I kind of been playing a little semi-loose aggressive this session, and he feels like, you know, he doesn't really want any of it. And I just kind of felt it coming. I felt like he was going to fight back. He's a loose aggressive player, and I think this is a good time for him to fight back when we got king. The dynamic's a little weird, and I don't really want to 4-bet. We haven't gotten to a 4-betting war, 5-betting war, so I can't really suspect him to like 5-bet jam or anything like that, or even call like a 4-bet out of position with a hand that's not really that strong. So what I was thinking was, I think it's probably better to just flat here and take it in positions. So I decided to call, and the small blind also completes. So now it's 3 ways to the flop. And the flop is 4-9-7 rainbow. And oddly enough, small blind checks and the big blind also checks. So he does not c-bet that board, which is really, really odd. It's like, if you're 3-bet squeezing and you're not c-betting that board, I don't know. Something is just really fishy here. But we have to bet. So I decided to bet 56. And small blind gets out of the way. And now the big blind calls. Queen on the turn. And it's an offsuit queen. He decides to check. And I decide to bet 111. 111. And he decides to call. So I'm still feeling like pretty good about my hand. I'm not feeling, you know, super happy, but it's just so odd that he checked the flop. So that's all that I'm thinking at this point. It's like, why would he check the flop? It just doesn't make any sense. Offsuit 5 on the river. And this is where he leads for 212. This is like, this is so weird. Like, does he have pocket queens? I don't know. What do you guys think he's got? You know, think about it for a few seconds. You got it? Did you guess? Because it crossed my mind when I was in the middle of the hand. It crossed my mind, but I'm thinking he couldn't have 3-bet this hand pre-flop. But it's possible. He had pocket 9s, guys. I called. He had pocket 9s. So he's got a set of 9s, and we mark our hand. I thought about it for maybe 30 seconds, but I couldn't find a fold. Not for 200. I don't know. I thought that he was loose aggressive. He could have been mixing in a bluff there, like taking a super weird line with a bluff. But yeah, we kind of, did we get owned that pot? Funny enough, I was actually going to check back the river on that one. So, because it just smelled so odd. Like, it was just, really weird. Really weird. Anyways, let's go on to hand number 5. So this is the final hand, and this is where we're going to take some vengeance on our loose aggressive player. The one that just beat us with pocket kings in a 3-bet pot. He decided 3-bet pocket 9s, so I still can't really believe that, but okay. Well, he did it. He did it. Good for him. So we're in the big blind. We got ace king, and they're 5 limpers. We decide to go to 60. M2 decides to flat. And as I said, M2 is the same player that we fought against with the pocket 9s. So the flop is 5-9 queen, rainbow, and I decide to c-bet 47. Obviously, we're playing for future streets, but he decides to call. Sure, it would have been nice to get him to fold, but I didn't expect him to fold because, you know, we kind of got a little thing going on. And not that kind of thing, but you know, we're fighting it out, we're slugging it out. And this is what's cool about poker, is like sometimes you encounter an opponent that wants to get in the ring and fight, and that's really challenging. That's the beauty of the game, is that it's competitive, and you just yeah, it's fun. I love it. I love it. So now we got an ace on the turn, which is so sweet. We're pretty much, I would say, locking in the hand. And we decide to slow down here. We're going to check and kind of let him hang himself. So he decides to bet 88, and we decide to call. 10 on the river, and we check. He bets 170. Let him really hang himself if he's bluffing. And he really pulled the trigger. He kind of hesitated to bet this one last 70. Like he took maybe 35 seconds to bet it. So I'm so happy that he bet it, and in my mind, I'm like, you know, at this point, it's pretty much a snap call, but it's always good to think it through. So I thought about it for maybe 20 seconds and decided on call. He shows pocket 6s, and we scoop a pretty big pot. So we got some money back. We didn't get all the money back, but that's a little bit of vengeance. So I'm going to leave it at that, and hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. That was a little quicker, but that's kind of the way things go in Woodbine. Things are a little fast, and it's always a good time. If you guys have never played the electronic version of the Poker Pro systems, definitely check it out. Google it if you're in the Toronto area. It's pretty much all we have right now at Woodbine, but I know that I think within the new year, there's like a new management, new casino that's going to take over. and actual live chips and dealers are going to show up at these tables. I don't know how early into 2018, but hopefully by the summertime we're going to get some actual live chips and cards and dealers. So I'm totally looking forward to that, and I'm sure that it's going to bring a lot of people into the game because, you know, honestly, not a lot of people even know that Woodbine exists. I was talking to Jory the other session at Niagara, and he had no idea that they were even betting poker at Woodbine. Like, he had zero idea, and he's from Toronto. So it just kind of, you know, goes to show that the word is not really out for Woodbine. So if you guys are in the Toronto area, you guys are watching this, definitely stop by, check it out. At least try it out once, you know. But if you lose that one session, just, you know, be mindful that it could be a bad session, and no, it is not rigged. Believe me, it is not rigged. Anyways, until next time, thanks guys again for watching, and yeah, be sure to hit that like button if you liked the video. That's cool, and if you can hit that subscribe and the taco bell button, that's also cool as well. But yeah, this upcoming weekend, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be in Niagara again. So if you guys are watching this Saturday morning, which is when I try to release it, you're probably going to see me at Niagara. One thing I forgot to update was my progress in December, but I'm going to talk about that goal in the next vlog because I feel like we've been pretty much like breaking even. So if anything, we're maybe down a little bit, maybe like $200 deeper into the hole. So maybe I'm down like 830 for the challenge. But I'm really hoping that this weekend's going to be good and make a comeback. I'd still be pretty happy with, you know, being in the positives. It's pretty tough when you're tight on time and you're trying to make a comeback. You definitely need a good session. So that's what I'm hoping for, and I know that Niagara is due to pay me a good session. So we'll see. See ya.